Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Beth Chats Books. Now today is Beth's Brew-Time Babble. I think it's episode 5 or 6, I can't really remember, but obviously when you watch this I will have the exact number here. It's been a while since I've done a Brew-Time Babble, so I thought I would just let you know what I'm drinking for this Brew-Time Babble. So I'm drinking a red berry fruit tea, a Sainsbury's own, because with this hot weather I find cups of teas and coffee very stodgy. As you can tell, I'm in a different background today, and that is because my brother and my boyfriend are back in the house today and they've been doing gardening because it's been a lovely day. So I've had to shove myself in here because obviously the World Cup is on and they are watching every match and they're very excited by it. So I've been thrown out into here, but I really want to do a Brew-Time Babble for you guys and get it up and out as soon as possible. So here I am. So the first part of this video is having a few announcements. So I'll just get my announcement book here for you. So the first announcement I want to say is that I am participating in a readathon. So the readathon is going to be on Friday the 13th of July. It's a 24-hour readathon, I believe, and it is hosted by Ali May. So I will link her Twitter down below. So if you would like to be involved, just go and contact her on her Twitter page. She will probably have advertisements of it on her Twitter, you know, little tweets that she sent out. And then she'll add you to an inbox on Twitter, which I'm currently part of, which we're discussing more about the theme. So the theme at the moment, I believe, is the unknown. So that's maybe unknown, underrated books. That might be books that are just unknown to you, that might be quite popular. So we're making it quite a broad topic so that people can get through as many books as possible. So if you're interested in that, like I said, I'll link it down below, and then you can be part of the inbox and have your say a little bit about what the unknown might mean. So there's that first of all. Then second of all, I want to mention that me and Anthony Andrews are doing an Instagram live at 6 PM on the 28th of July. So be there or be square. So basically I am joining his 4-week book club. I'll link his video down below. He did the first one in June. Unfortunately I wasn't able to participate in June, so I can't really remember what book he mentioned for June, but he's starting a roll-on series as part of the book club that every month a booktuber who he really admires and enjoys their channel, he wants them to introduce the next book of the month. I'm not entirely certain, because I haven't been able to get into contact with Anthony this morning, whether he wants me to say the books or the book we might have chosen. So there's 3 possible options that I will give to him, and then he chooses the option he would like. So at the moment we've already discussed and chosen that book, but I'm not sure if he wants me to disclose the 3 books and then the book he ended up picking. So I'm going to say nothing, and I'll see when I get in contact with him, and then when the Instagram live happens, how it's all panning out. In the next couple of months when he does another one, then the same thing will happen. He'll pick a booktuber he likes and they will offer him 3 options of books and he will pick the one he likes. But with Anthony Andrews' channel, he's been very open and honest with me about how his parents would like him to have middle grade fiction that doesn't have a lot of violence or adult themes within them. So he is very open to whatever you would like to discuss with him. So I discussed a good few options and asked him how comfortable he would feel and his parents would feel with him reading those kind of books, and he's a great communicator, and we've decided on some books that he thinks will be perfect and fit well within what his parents would like him to read, as well as the themes that he's interested in. So I would recommend, if you love Anthony Andrews' channel, to also go and contact him on his Twitter or his Instagram and ask if you would like to be involved in it, because he's more than happy to collaborate with other BookTube users and creators, and he's a fantastic person, and I'm really excited to promote his book club. So like I said, I'll link all the information down below about the book club, and I'll remind you of the date of when we're going live, which is the 28th of July at 6 PM Instagram live. So there's that, and then the last little bit of an announcement that I wanted to mention is that me and Brianna from Rainy Days and Stormy Nights, we're doing a buddy read of The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. So this is book 1 in a trilogy, I believe. Now, I'm not a big trilogy series reader, so it'll be really interesting to find out if I like it enough to continue on with the series. So me and Brianna have decided that every 5 chapters or so we're going to connect up with each other and see how it's going. But I would like to do an open invitation for anybody who is waiting to read The Bear and the Nightingale and hasn't read it yet. Please join us. Also, please feel free to let me know that you're reading it so I can add you to a chat, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter, and then you can read along with us every 5 chapters or so. Pop in, have a little chat on social media, and I'll see how you're getting on. So I just wanted to announce that they're all the exciting collab YouTubey things that I'm doing this month that I wanted to let you guys know about so that you can be involved if you would like to do so. So that's all the checklist out of the way for me for this particular video. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit, so that it's not just a quick announcement video, it's got a little bit more meat to its bones as such, is I wanted to discuss with you guys about how you enjoy your reading in terms of how big a book is. So recently I've been really enjoying smaller reads. For example, Vegetarian by Han Kang and The Tin Man by Sarah Winman. And I've also just finished Lullaby, and I've found that around the 200 page mark, it might be slightly over, so 215 pages, or it might be under, it might be 185 pages, for example. So all the books I've currently been reading this month are around that kind of page count. Has really enhanced my reading in a positive way. I've had a thoroughly enjoyable month, which I'm really excited to talk about in my wrap up. But I've found that recently, if I have smaller books, then I whistle through them and I end up reading more pages a month than if I take on a bigger book, because a bigger book I kind of have a lot of stumbling blocks. So The Bear and the Nightingale, which I've currently started reading, is about 400 pages, and I presume if it creates a really great world with the magical realism, I'll be sucked in. For example, Harry Potter, no matter how big those books got, I could always read them within 2 or 3 days because I was really hooked on what was going on. So I just wanted to kind of open a little bit of a discussion. How do you feel? Do you enjoy bigger books? Do you enjoy a longer, protracted reading experience? Or do you find that these smaller reads become like palate cleansers and they end up allowing you to stretch your reading muscles and go a little bit further? That's what I found in particular, that with these kind of books, I can read them in 2 days, and it's allowed me to read more words than usual. Sometimes with a busy schedule, which I haven't had recently, but when I have a busy schedule, I end up doing a couple of chapters a night, and then if you've got a bigger book, it takes longer. But because I've had a lot of free time and I've whistled through these books, it's kind of got me back into a reading rhythm, which I really enjoy. So I kind of wanted to bring that up with you guys and see how you feel. Do you like smaller books, bigger books? Usually in the past I would have said I loved a bigger book and I love the challenge of completing a bigger book. But in recent months I found bigger books intimidating. For example, I really want to get to A Little Life, and I've really wanted to get onto Dickens, for example, and a lot of others. I really want to read And the Mountains Echoed, which I've got a big hardback of. But I've found recently really difficult because I'm really intimidated by the size and by the effort of getting into those kind of books. But I do want to read bigger books. There's a lot of collections that I want to get to, and I want to read Lord of the Rings, for example, and get through those kind of books. So I just wanted to do an open kind of discussion with you guys. How do you feel about smaller or bigger books? Is there a happy medium? For example, some people find books around the 400 or 500 page mark not necessarily a tome, because, you know, I class a tome as like 800 to 1,000 pages. But people find around the 500 page mark that they're quite happy to read that. Is it easier for you guys to read bigger books if it's fantasy, for example, or if it's a thriller, or if it's part of an ongoing series? So I just wanted to speak to you guys because at the moment I'm finding shorter books a lot more satisfying to get through, and I know that Simon from Savage Reads talked about this recently, and I'll link his video down below. I can't remember exactly what his video was called, but he was talking about the idea that numbers don't mean everything, because some reading months he won't read a lot per se, but he's read bigger books, and a bigger book really equals maybe 2 books instead of 1, you know, that you've read. So when you get to your number count, it might be a lot less. For example, I am doing quite well this month, so I'm halfway through the month and I've read 5 or 6, which is good for me, but they're all under 200 pages. So, you know, if I had read a bigger book, for example, if I had tackled a big Harry Potter book this month, or if I had tried to read a bigger book, a Charles Dickens, for example, that might have eaten up half of my month in terms of just getting through it and reading it. So I just wanted to lay that at your door and see what you guys think about it, because that was the latest kind of buzz in my head as well, about smaller books being more satisfying reads for me. Also, I just remembered I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Hamlet as well. So I watched Hamlet at the Globe and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal and fantastic. It was really interesting because the women were playing the male parts and the males were playing the female parts. So, for example, Ophelia was a man and Hamlet was a woman. And I found that dynamic really intriguing and interesting. the dress style was pretty Elizabethan. It was kind of Shakespearean dress, because apparently at the Globe they often change the style, so they've had contemporary in the past, or they've had Oriental style of outfits, or, you know, African. So I thought that that was very interesting. I liked it in the style it was in, and I found that Hamlet is a very accessible play for people, both in terms of reading and watching. You don't have to understand. So the play was not written in contemporary style either, it was classic Shakespearean language. And I found that that was very accessible. The play is very interesting because you can read it and still grasp. There's obviously certain lines that you won't necessarily understand or get. Overall, the plot is quite interesting and to the point, and it has all the elements that obviously lots of people find interesting. There's violence and betrayal and, you know, revenge, and there's a very interesting relationship as well between Hamlet and Ophelia, which I would love to explore more and talk about more, which I might discuss a little bit in my wrap-up. But I find that that relationship isn't given a lot of airtime in the play. And obviously Ophelia, spoilers for anyone, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, get out of this brew babble now. But obviously she dies. She is distraught by her father's death, and she's distraught by Hamlet's wish-washy affections for her and the inconsistency of his affections. And she ends up drowning herself, and it's a really interesting dynamic because there's something really important there that often gets swept under the carpet. For example, the thrill in the play of Hamlet's revenge and will he or won't he, and then the battle against Ophelia's brother, because Hamlet by accident kills Ophelia's dad. It always kind of like steals the plot and the main focus about the revenge and their duel, and then the ultimate accidental death of the queen, and then the death of the king, and then everybody's death, then Hamlet dies because he's surrounded by death. So that always takes away from the kind of cruelty that Hamlet plays with Ophelia, and I would love the exploration of the female characters more. I think there's a lot of richness in that particular play and what meets the eye, so I think it's really worth me rereading it and doing a bit of research after, because it's ignited this interest in me, because at a younger age you kind of assume that Shakespeare is inaccessible to you, and then as you get older you find connections and links and a relationship between the current world and how relationships work and how human nature works. It's very intriguing, so I just kind of wanted to tell you about that. It was fantastic at the Globe. It was a great atmosphere, the acting was phenomenal. I was so happy that I got to see it. It really did tick something off the bucket list for me, and I would certainly go and watch Shakespeare again, future plays at the Globe, and I'm hoping to get more into Shakespeare plays. So if you could recommend me somewhere to go from Hamlet, because I thought Hamlet was quite a good start. I have previously, many moons ago, read A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I've read slight snippets of Macbeth at GCSE level, but if there's any other plays that you could recommend, then I would love that. So this was a bit waffly because I've had my dad interrupt me, I've had my mum ring me, so it's a bit of a bitty video. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back very soon with a brand new video, and I'll see you very soon. Bye now.